welcome to the first episode of the Double Nickel Podcast. All right, with this podcast is a little bit different than the In the Car with My People podcast. This one is specifically um, about Youssef and his football season this year. Youssef is a senior this year, so we thought it'd be cool to do a football specific fun podcast.
Mhm.
Uh, to kind of chronicle and talk about his football season and just talk about football because we love football so much. So today's the first episode of the podcast. We're gonna break each week. We'll come in every week. We'll break it down into four segments that we're gonna talk about every week, and hopefully it's something you like and enjoy. Again, Youssef is a senior.
Mhm.
This is last year of high school football, so it'll be fun to discuss it. So the
Right.
first segment we're going to start off every week with is What's Up with 55. And we're going to talk about Youssef's season. So actually this week is the first week of the
First week
season,
of the year.
Friday. We're recording on Monday. He has his first game this coming Friday versus Meade County. But before we talk about that, I like to talk about some of the things that you did during the spring and summer. Kind of let everybody know um, all the things you did this past spring and summer. It's been a really eventful and
Mhm.
long spring and summer for you. Kind of talk about what you things that you had going on this spring and this summer.
So this spring and summer, I earned 7 scholarships. I think 7 scholarships to play football. I went to 7 camps, 6, 7 camps. I earned an offer, I think, at every single one except for maybe one. But I went on an official visit to Dartmouth in New Hampshire, so that was really fun to do. I went to SEMO and had a workout there, and I got an offer from them. And then I got off from Eastern Kentucky after a camp, Austin P after a camp, some D2 schools, Bethel and Central State, doing those camps and type of things. And
You
then
got one other offer you keep forgetting about.
Dartmouth,
Kentucky Western.
Kentucky Wesleyan, I
Yeah,
forgot.
that's a D2 school. Yeah.
Kentucky Wesleyan D2 school, about 30 minutes from where I'm at. But through the whole process, a fun process, quick. It wasn't super long. But at the end of the summer, I ended up committing to SEMO. And, it was my third time on campus, fourth time being around them, and I felt like it was the best decision for me.
What is it about SEMO that you really like versus the other schools?
It's like the perfect distance. It's not too far from home where people can't see me play, but it's far enough to where I can still do my own thing and not easily relate to, you feel me, if I can take care of myself and learn how to be an adult. I felt like if I was too close to home, I might have been too reliant on my peoples to take care of certain things for me. Being at SEMO, if something like an emergency was to happen back home, I can come back, I can drive down, but I can still learn how to be my own person, my own dog,
So from a football standpoint, what was it that you liked
they're a good football team. They won their conference championship they won their conference this last year. They made the playoffs. Unfortunately, they got knocked out first round, but they still made the FCS playoffs. And it's a great team, great coaches. I love the coaching staff. Even from when I first got there, I watched the practice. Practice very energetic. The guys love it there. They seem to love it there. And I just feel like it was a good fit for me. Like scheme wise, they kind of fit to the way I play now in high school. Is kind of in a way similar. And
So what do you mean? Like, what's that style?
So a lot of moving, a lot of pulling, a lot of zone offense. That's like a lot of what our offense in high school is now. We run a lot of zone scheme type of things, and it's very similar. And they told me that even watching them, watching film with them, their offense is like built for someone like me because it wouldn't be something super unfamiliar. I'm used to pulling, going to linebackers, blocking little linebackers and stuff like that, and that's what they do. So it was a perfect fit.
That's what's up. I know from my standpoint, I think I went with you to Austin P's camp, Austin P, Miami of Ohio, Cincinnati. What other camps? I think those are the only ones I went to. I think. Yeah, because you went to Eastern Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to those, and like I said, you got offers at every camp I was. Well, you got offered by Eastern Kentucky at their camp. You got offered by Austin P at their camp. You got offered by Bethel
Cincinnati's the
at
other one he
Osprey.
was at.
Yeah, Cincinnati didn't get any offers, which was even though I know at Cincinnati it was like um, they had a lot of really good players up there, good
Mm-hmm.
competition. You were one of the best linemen there, but as big as you are, still wasn't. Everybody's kind of been talking about your size. It's
Mm-hmm.
like they feel like you're undersized right now, but you just turned 17.
Yeah.
You've put on since in the last 2 years, you put on 50 plus pounds, but so you're still growing because at the beginning of summer you were like 265. Where you at right now?
I was 271 like 3 days ago.
Okay, so you're putting on the weight, and but I think what I liked about SEMO is they have a no nonsense head coach who is about building and developing men, and I think they've a lot of coaches talk that talk, but you can see it in their program. Uh, I like the offense. I like the fact that he's a little older. He's a little older than I am, but he's got a really young coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got that balance of kind of a little bit of old school discipline they want, but like their practices, like we went to one of the spring practices, really
Mm-hmm.
energetic. And then from an offensive standpoint, they are super physical, and I think that's one of your best attributes. So, like you said, and what's funny is like from here and Robar and Roberts, and then me being in Clarksville, it's the same distance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes from here, 2 hours and 45 minutes from Clarksville. So
It works out for
it
everybody.
works out well where you can come to either or. Because distance wise, because what's funny is like when I when I go up there, I like travel through 4 states. I go from Tennessee to Kentucky to Illinois to Missouri, but it's not a long distance. It's just you got to go through some little country towns that make you make the trip a little longer, but it's a cool little trip. So I'm excited for you. I know at the beginning of the spring, it was like, man, I'm not getting no offers. We just talked about this remaining patient, and then like you got like 6 in a week, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool, and you got to go through the process, and you were. I think you were leaning SEMO for a while. I think you kind of always had a certain feeling about them.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there was the Dartmouth stuff with the fact that it was Ivy League school. That's incredibly intriguing, but it's 16-hour drive. It's a 2.5 hour flight plus another 2 hour drive after the flight. So um, that's what's up, man. I'm glad you were able to find a school that you felt was best for you, or it's a good fit. It's like a fit all around, education wise.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fit football wise. Everything. So SEMO seemed like it was the best place. And I think between Kentucky Wesleyan and SEMO, those are the two schools that was like really, really high on you.
Yeah.
Really wanted you there. So that's what's up, man. We talked about it a long time ago. Like your goal was to get a D1 scholarship, and I know sometimes you weren't sure, but you got it. I always tell you, man, you got the ability to do it. So that was cool. So now you did all your winter workouts, did all your spring ball, you got your college choice. Now it's all about this particular season. So last year you guys went 10-3, you won your district, and you also made it to the state quarterfinals. End up losing in the third round to a team that eventually was the state runner up. What was funny last year, you had 3 losses. Y'all lost to the 4A state champion.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all lost to the 6A state runner up, and then y'all lost to the 5A, one of the 5A semifinalists. So y'all didn't lose um, to some pretty tough competition. Coming into this year, you guys off of that team lost what, like 16 starters off of that team, and so including having to replace the entire defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all y'all starters basically come back on offense. You're going against Meade County Friday. You guys played them in the second round last year, beat them up pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Going into this game, going into the season, what are you personally looking forward to?
Personally looking forward to, I think really the moments is, I feel like that's what I'm gonna remember. So I'm just looking forward to like those big plays and those fun moments, those important moments in games, the funny stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't, like me, to be honest, I don't remember playing half the teams we played last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember, little moments and stuff like that and just having fun. That's like the biggest part. And I saw the video you sent me the other day. You don't forget your senior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to remember everything about it. And so I just look forward to just enjoying my time and just putting laying everything out because I know I ain't going to have a chance to do it again. That's what I look forward to.
And then, so last year, so you didn't play your sophomore year because you had surgery and missed the entire season. You come in as a junior, start, perform really well, but it was a senior-led team, so you just kind of just played your role. Mm-hmm. What is it like coming into the year where you looked at one as one of the best players on the team? I mean, you're the only one on the team right now that has D1 offers and D1 commitment, so everybody's looking at you. What is it like going from? Because last year you had Sadiq, and you had Bryce. And they were, Sadiq's at Louisville, Bryce is at Eastern Kentucky, and then you had a whole bunch of other really, really good seniors, and so you were just kind of playing a role. What is it like now being one of the guys everybody has their eye on?
I think I was ready for it. I've always kind of been like really good energy, high and vibrant. So I think I just do the same thing I did then at a much higher volume, a lot more just good energy for everybody, just not just the linemen. I got to be like that to the whole entire team. So I make sure every day I got good energy. I make sure I find the fine line between having fun and goofing around. I make sure I stay on that, making sure I take things serious, but make sure I make things fun and know the time and place. And that's just being a leader is like the biggest part. I know I gotta, if I'm setting a bad example, then people are just gonna follow, and I just gotta make sure that I stay consistent. I talked to my coaches privately and they just told me, they was like, you just gotta be consistent. I can't choose one day to not be a leader. It takes one bad day. One bad day will wash all the good stuff you did. So if I choose to be selfish or just not really care that day, it can take all the good stuff away. So I make sure every single day I'm consistently being a good leader and just being a good energy guy, because I know that's what I'm like, a hype man. I want to make sure everybody, is having fun. If someone's down, it's my job to pick them up. But at the same time, I'm supposed to be the same person that checks people that aren't doing what they're supposed to. And I think the interesting part about being a leader is you have to learn how to talk to certain people. Some people, some people you can yell at and they'll lock in and do what they got to do. Some people you yell at, it takes them even worse. It makes them even worse, and it makes them like not care. So just me through this process, I've had to learn being a leader, how to talk to my guys and know like what to say. Because now I know what I can say to Landon, our left guard. I know I can say to him for him to lock in. Right. It's not going to be the same if I got to talk to my right guard, right tackle, Fleck, Aaron, Bird, Taylor. It's all different. So I just got to figure out like what I got to do to make sure we all successful. Because if people are down, if they not confident, we got to be able to build that confidence up. Because if you have confidence in anything you do, you'll be fine.
So, like I said, you got to replace a pretty a team that was a senior laden team last year. This is almost a brand new group that's out there. Who are some other guys that that are going to be really crucial to the success of your
obviously
team?
The quarterback, Trajan Davis. I know,
yeah, for sure.
I love him to death. I give him a hard time sometimes, but he knows it's all love. Him being the quarterback, having a year under his belt, he knows that he's going to make plays. He doesn't have guys like Jaheim Jordan, dudes that can just go out there and just make plays on their own. He's going to have to do some things out of the extraordinary. And, then you got JP and Cohen. They're both huge receivers that we're going to need. Cohen didn't get to play in the scrimmages because of he was injured. So, but he coming back this week is going to be huge for us because he's he's going to be the guy that we look to.
Receiver,
he's explosive. Right. Like if you need a big play, he's the one that you want to look for. JP, he's a great receiver. He'll get you like those short yardage you need, stuff like that. But I think him and I think another receiver that's going to be important is Max Thompson. He backup quarterback last year, changed positions, and for him, I'm impressed by like how much he has caught along so quickly. Because he's been a quarterback his whole entire life, from what I know, and to change position senior year, to playing receiver now, as good as he's done, I'm really proud. I'm glad he's doing what he's doing. And then Tony, our running back, really, he's really good. He couldn't play last year because he was just sitting behind
two really good
two phenomenal running backs, so he didn't really get a chance. Even when he got in last year, he showed glimpses, and you can see in our scrimmages that he hasn't lost it. He hasn't lost it at all. He's gotten even better.
On the defensive side, who are some guys on defense that
defensively? I'd say Jace Hicks. He's our corner. He didn't play. He played in middle school. He didn't play in high school until our senior year, and he came in, and he's like without a doubt our best corner. And so he's going to be huge because he's going to be the guy that's guarding all the big receivers. Matchup wise, I think on the flip side, Andrew on the D line, Myron, Luke, Jackson, them four right there. They're going to have to be a unit the same way the four Zion, Marks, Tappan Sadiq. They're going to have to be the same unit that they were last year because we had a really good defensive line. And then I'll be playing some D line rotating in, so I'll be important on that level. And then we got like Coy and Max both play defense, and that's another big thing. So we got a lot of guys that are going both ways.
Right.
And so making sure over the summer we worked really hard to stay in shape. Because I'm gonna have to play both ways. There's gonna be times where I'm going back to back drives. And I'm just gonna have to deal with it. And then our linebackers, Murph and JR, they're both first year varsity players. JR's a sophomore, so he's gonna be learning. He's learning how to play, and they're gonna both get better over time.
Right.
And then our nickels, Brady, Eli, what's his name? I'm trying to think of his actual name. I know his nickname. I'm trying to think of his
nickname. Just say his nickname.
Treesh.
All right.
Treesh. They're all three of them playing that nickel. Luke Humphreys, he plays nickel and receiver. Maxon, he plays corner and receiver. So we just got a bunch of guys playing both ways. So they're all just going to play a huge part in it for sure.
I know a big thing is like Trajan. I feel like last year, I think as he a sophomore, he playing with a bunch of seniors, and even though he playing quarterback, he just I think sometimes it's just I just don't want to mess up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't really have to be a leader because in a certain way. But I told him, I talked to him. I got a little group chat with you and him, and the thing I said, I was able to go to the scrimmage last week. It's just that last year, if he had a turnover, he would get down on himself and it just compound. It'd be another turnover, or if he have a bad throw, it'd be 2 or 3 bad throws in a row because he just would get down on himself too easily. But then I went to the scrimmage. It was I remember he had an out route or throwing a flat. He overthrew the dude badly, and he just was calm. And then the next 3 or 4 passes was on the money. He was going through progressions, and he had a good command of the offense. I think now he's just got a lot more confidence because physically, he got all the physical.
Right.
He's got good size. He can throw that thing. When he's calm, he's accurate. He's got all the physical tools. But I think the most impressive thing I've seen is just it seems like the mental side of the game he's really got, and his confidence. He has command of the offense. There's no question when you see him just walk on the field, you go, oh yeah, that dude knows what he's doing. So I think that's going to be big. So last year, you guys went undefeated in the district, won the district. It was between you guys and Central Hardin last year. You guys had a really tough game against Central Hardin for 3 quarters, and y'all ended up blowing them out. But I think coming into this year, I don't know if it'd be much different as far as Central Hardin won't be too much.
They're still a great team. I'm pretty sure they got their running back. They may have their quarterback back.
And that was outside of Mayo, that was the biggest team. And I think overall they were bigger than Mayo. They were
they were big.
Even the quarterback was really big.
Kids.
So
I think they're a really good team. They've always, we beat them the last 2 years, but we know it's never going to be easy playing them. Right. We know what it is. As soon as we're going there this year. It's a long drive, so we got to make sure, even with the long drive, how to leave score, that we're still mentally locked in and focused. And so, but yeah, they're a great team.
Cool. So overall, how do you feel about y'all chances of winning the district and then getting into the playoffs and making a serious run?
I feel like we can win district for sure. I feel like As long as we take care of what we take care of, now we only play 3 teams in the district. It's not 4 anymore.
Right.
So
Who did y'all lose out the district?
Apollo. I'm pretty
Apollo,
sure.
yeah, they went down, right?
They went to 5A. So we only got to win 3 games to win districts, and it's just making sure not to stay consistent throughout the season, and making sure we don't get too high, too low, making sure we improve every single week, and most importantly, I feel like our what's the word I'm looking for? Like if we lose a game, I'm trying to think of what's the word.
Like don't get down on yourself.
Yeah, like be able to like shake back. But I'm trying to
bounce back.
Adversity. That's the word I'm looking for.
Right.
The way we handle adversity is important. It's because I feel like last year we lost to Boyd County and then won 7 straight games after that. We lost to Owensboro and we come back the next 2 weeks and blow
folks out,
blow people out. So we just got to make sure, obviously you don't want to have the thought of losing,
right?
But you want to make sure that it doesn't become a habit. You can't let one bad game turn into 2 bad games, 3 bad games. You've had 3 bad games, it's turned into a bad season at that point. And so we got to make sure that we handle adversity well. Adversity in the game. If we get down in the game, that we can come back. Adversity. Practice. If someone goes down, we gotta have that next man up mentality. Because adversity is gonna hit. It's football. It happens every year. Unfortunately, at some point, more than likely, someone's gonna get hurt and someone's gonna have to step up. And it's just how it is. So we just gotta make sure. That's the biggest thing I think for this team is make sure we handle adversity well. And in the playoffs is really, as you saw last year with Mail, Mail made the state championship and their record was like
they were like 6-4 in the regular season.
And so it's just getting hot at the right time, making sure we get hot at the right time, and just game after game in the playoffs, just momentum carries on.
That's what's up. So that's what's going on with 55. So our next segment that we got is called Let's Talk Ball. So with that, we're just going to talk about football in general. I just want to, I love football, you love football. And so, high school starting Friday, and then, a couple weeks after that, college ball and then the NFL. So in about 10 months, you're going to be on somebody's campus playing college ball. Like, what do you think about like college football right now? Because I feel like college football right now is an absolute circus. Like between conference realignment, transfer portal, NIL, like how do you feel about the state that college football is in right now?
They're in a transitional period. So I think the conference thing, like that's been in talks for a couple of years now. The playoff, that's been in talks for a couple of years.
Right.
So I think this next 2 to 3 years kind of transitional period.
Right.
So I think the state, like, it's just how you get used to everything after a couple of years pass. Like when they introduced the BCS, it took 2, 3. I'm sure it took 2, 3 years to get used to it.
Right.
And then 5 years later, it's just the way things are. So I think right now with the transition period and the way the NIL is and the transfer portal and teams, obviously, like
we saw
geography wise,
it's crazy. Geographically, it doesn't even matter no more.
It doesn't exist. But like in 5 years or so, it's just gonna be how college football is.
I mean, we literally saw last week a conference just go from being a Power 5
to non-existent
to really not existing no more. That's crazy. Within like a couple of days, it was nuts.
So I think it's just like you just kind of gotta wait a couple of years and let things kind of play out, because you don't get used to it as long as no other changes. I mean, the transfer portal has always been around, but the biggest thing was they took out the sitting out the year. That's what changed a lot of things, because dudes can transfer and play immediately. I feel like that's really what changed a lot. And then obviously NIL, that's like another topic for itself, like the way players get paid and stuff like that. Me personally, I feel like players, there shouldn't be wrong with them getting paid. I know you get a free education, but at the same time, you also you're committed to football really 24/7. you really don't get much, and you still at the end of the day, you're still a college student,
Right.
and and free education. You still gotta just. It's free, but it's not
Not free.
free.
You're earning it.
You're earning it.
Yeah.
And I think being paid it shouldn't be an issue. I think there's levels. Like I know, so like for example, like I know I saw a podcast talking about it how some players might feel that way of one player's getting paid millions of dollars and they're not getting anything, or they're not getting much money, and it's not fair. But I feel like college is turning into a business. It's really what it.
It's
It's
business.
just a business now.
I think it's like the schools, and I'm talking more like on the FBS, the big school. The school is a lot of these bigger schools, especially football and men's basketball. The schools making millions. The coaches are making millions. The NCAA overall is making billions. Even on the FCS level where you're going to be going, even though it's not as big, the school is still benefited from having that football program that goes to the playoffs. It brings eyes to the university. It brings eyes to the university, and so now athletes want to go to the university because of this program, and so that brings more money to the schools. And football in particular, man, like it's a brutal sport, man.
Yeah, it's just your body is physically demanding sport. Every single day you just doing this with somebody every single day, constantly over and over and over. And at college, it's at a way higher level than high school is. And they got great treatments and stuff like that, so they take care of you. But it's still physically demanding.
A long time. So with that said, like going into this college football season, like who are some of the teams that you think? I'm talking about like the FBS, the big, like you think are like probably going to be playoff teams, or at least some of the best teams in the country. And why do you like those teams?
I think I gotta say Tennessee, just because I feel like I saw the AP poll had them ranked 12th.
Right?
Yeah, I know. I thought that was a little low.
Right.
But I think for them, and I'm a fan, so I'm biased. But I think if Joe Milton can play, not even spectacular, if he can play good, then they'll be a good team. Because I feel like they got Brew McCoy still. I think they got Jabari Small still.
I think so.
I think they got Jabari Small still, and I feel like they have that momentum. People's a great coach,
right?
And the only thing is, I think they can beat everybody on their schedule except for Georgia. I just don't know.
What is it about Georgia you like?
It's Georgia. It's just like the only thing is, a quarterback situation is kind of iffy, but I don't think that really matters. As you saw, and I didn't like looking back. Stetson Bennett wasn't the bad quarterback. He was just older, but he had so many good dudes around him that he didn't have to do.
Right. And people can't score. If people can't score, then that's what it is.
But I think another team, I'm really interested to see how Texas does. I think because they are always, every single year, for some reason, they're like held to this crazy high standard, and they usually never meet it. But I think this year might be a little different. I know they got a couple 5 stars,
right,
that are pretty good. Obviously, you got Georgia, great team. Michigan, they got Blake Corum again. Still, they'll be good. I'm really interested to see how Alabama is and see if they can
kind of get back. It sounds funny for a team that I think lost 2 games last year. We were saying like, can they get back
to what they used to be? That's how dominative the end. I think so. With Nick Saban trying to go out on top, Kirby Smart's kind of just standing in his way.
Right.
These last couple of years, I think Alabama they gotta. The games they lost last year were close too. They lost off a field goal and a 2-point conversion.
Right.
So it's not like they were a bad team or anything like that. It's just they've been at the top of the totem pole for the longest time.
2009, basically.
And they kind of, these last couple of years, just kind of took it away from them. And so I'm interested to see, especially with the quarterback situation, because I don't think people know who's going to start for them still. And I think, I'm interested to see how they play this year. I mean, I think they're going to win double-digit games. but I want to see if they can make the playoff again and see if they can find themselves back in the national championship.
I'm interested to see if, of course, as a Tennessee fan, I'm interested to see what they do. I mean, last year, if they don't blow it against South Carolina and Hendon Hooker don't get hurt, they're probably in the playoff last year. So I'm interested to see what they look like.
USC too. I want to see how they look because they got Brendan Rice
and they got Caleb.
So I think they lost 3 games last year. I think. Yeah. So I want to see how they look.
The thing with and then I want to see like Michigan. They start off the season number 2, but then there's still the uncertainty on what's going to happen with Harbaugh because he was going to have the 4-game suspension, and they were going to spin on the first 4 when they play like their schedules was super easy games. Like, man, you can go out there and coach them to wins, but the NCAA was like, nah. So they're going to continue they haven't decided what his overall punishment is going to be. But just see if Michigan can live up to all these high expectations and can they beat Ohio State again. So it'd be interesting to see what happened with them. As a person from Cincinnati and seeing that program kind of be of the group of 5, they've probably been the best group of 5 team for the last few years. But Fickell left. I saw that Wisconsin is ranked like in the top 20. I think it's mostly because they got Fickell there, and I want to see if Fickell going to regret leaving Cincinnati and see what Cincinnati does in the Big 12. And then LSU, I think, is kind of like the wild card. You know what I'm saying? Because they play really good at points. One thing I know about Brian Kelly is that it only takes him a couple years to get it right, and then he has teams that are competing at the top, and then LSU is like, as far as where LSU is, he has the most fertile recruiting ground he's ever had. Like, he's going to get better recruits than he's ever gotten. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And this is a dude that took Cincinnati to a undefeated regular season before when he was in the – like, this is a dude that win. When he was in D2 at, I think, Grand Valley, he won a couple national championships. Went to the MAC, won a couple of MAC championships when he was at Central Michigan. Come to Cincinnati and actually got Cincinnati really close to an opportunity to play in the BCS championship and went undefeated in the regular season. Took Notre Dame to a national championship game. And none of these places have. So, I mean, Cincinnati's in Ohio where it's really good fertile ground, but Ohio State gets the best of the best.
Right.
So he's shown, and then, Notre Dame, although he gets really good recruits, he doesn't get the same kind of recruits because of their academic stuff.
Right.
But now he's at LSU in the SEC where he's going to be able to recruit the southeastern part of the country. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what he does with them. And I think this year is the first year.
They were good last year. They went to the SEC championship. They got blasted by Georgia, but I mean, they still beat Alabama.
Right.
Gave Alabama the second loss and knocked them out the playoff. Right. I'm trying to think I don't know about the bowl game.
But I don't remember either. But it's going to be interesting to see, like, as an SEC fan, it's going to be interesting to see because Georgia has a really easy schedule. I think Tennessee is the toughest team they play all year. So I can see them walking into the playoffs. But the SEC is still going to be interesting because I think Tennessee is going to be good. Alabama's always good. LSU. So
I think one thing I don't know if they're confirmed they're going to do it, but they're talking about making like no more conference.
So in the SEC, they're getting rid of division.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning.
They're getting rid of divisions, and the Big Ten, I think, doing the same thing.
I like that better because I like, especially with the Big Ten, because the Big Ten, they'll be like Ohio State, Michigan going against like
Wisconsin
or Illinois.
Just, teams that really shouldn't be there from the other side. I think eventually what's going to happen is you're going to have these really big programs. I think at some point it might take 5-10 years. They're just going to leave the NCAA and they're just going to make these super conferences and they're going to play their own championships because they're going to be able. Because at the end of the day, it's about money. So if you take like the top, let's just say 64 teams or something, divide them up into 4 conferences, have the top 12 teams from each one of those conferences play in a playoff. They're going to make billions of dollars because the TV money is going to be there. Yeah. And they can get rid of these restrictions that the NCAA has. So you can go from – I just think it's going to happen at some point. because if you look, that's all they're doing now. Because like when I was growing up,
Yeah, how did that work? Like back in
so when I was growing up, they used to the national champions were voted upon by the AP. They had the AP poll and the
yeah,
coaches
I
poll.
don't like it
But what they would try to do is do their very best to get the top two teams
to play
to
together.
play in the same bowl. And a lot of times that happened and it turned out really well. And then, but the thing that was cool was that conferences were actually regional.
Mm-hmm.
Playing in the Big Ten and like being from the Midwest, watching Big Ten football. I wasn't necessarily a Big Ten fan. I always liked the SEC better, but still, the SEC was all Southeastern people,
Right.
right? And then the SEC actually kind of started this whole thing with the playoff because the SEC was the first team to have a conference championship game. They were the first ones. Actually, it was the AD at Vanderbilt that kind of was the person who kind of started this whole thing, dividing up into divisions and having these championships. Then everybody started getting it, and then the BCS came along, and the BCS was cool for me, especially because Tennessee won the first one. So since that's their only national championship, so I like how it was regional. But now, since it's not regional, it's just like try to get the very best teams in the conference, and no matter where they at, might as well just get out the NCAA. You know what I'm saying? Because then the schools don't have to share the money with the NCAA. So I think it'll happen, and I think it'll be exciting, but it's gonna take some years because you're gonna just people used to what they used to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all right, how about the NFL side? Like, what's your favorite team in the NFL? Like, you really don't have a team.
Nah, not really. This is teams I like. Like I like the Bengals. I'm always interested to see what the Patriots do. I just like players. Like I just like to see players succeed. Really, I don't really have like a NFL team I'm riding or dying for.
Like, do you think it's just another year for the Chiefs, or you think somebody's gonna knock them off the throne?
I think it's as long as they got Mahomes and Kelsey, it don't really matter. Like the Chiefs is like it's just one of those teams where like you can't really do much with them. Like for the last 3 years, everybody knows what they're good at, the game plan, and they show they don't need Tyreek Hill to be good. And you know what they did? They took Tyreek Hill away, and they got Pacquiao. Is that how you say his name?
Which one?
The running back. Him, and they got Kadarius Toney. So they got two explosive guys to make up for one of my eyes.
You got Toney, who was failing in New York, and then I think the running back they got Pacheco. I think they got him in the 6th, 7th round.
Yeah, he just turned out to be a dog.
He was a dog in college, but I think he was one of those dudes that just like probably on paper he ain't that big. He probably not super fast, but he just run hard and as a Bengals fan, it's what's funny is like after all these years, I've been a Bengals fan my whole life, and so people like when I was in like high school.
When was the Bengals ever good? Like
they were good. So like you gotta think they went to the Super Bowl when I was like in kindergarten, first grade. So they were good in spots during the 80s. The early 90s, like 90, 91, they were good. And then they were terrible from 91, 92 up to like 2005. They were just like they may have been the worst franchise in professional sports. Like they were horrible. And they just had this reputation of being incredibly cheap. It's not that they're not cheap now. I think they got a different formula. So I'll tell people for the last 20 years, let's just go from 2003 to like this season. The Bengals, I tell people all the time, Mike Brown, the owner, does not care about winning Super Bowl. He does not. He cares about putting a competitive football team on the field to the best of it at the lowest cost to get people to come to the games. But Bengals have a formula for them to have worked. So if you follow the Bengals, basically they do a couple things really good. They draft and develop their people pretty good. They do a pretty good of drafting guys, developing their guys, and then they supplement. So they'll take like lower tier free agents, like guys who may not have been all pro, who may not have been like Pro Bowlers, but guys who were like long-time starters, long-time contributors to their teams, especially defensively, and plug them in to kind of help their younger guys develop. And then people don't give them credit for the fact that they've had some good defensive coordinators. So they don't really have stars on defense, but they play good defense. They've pretty much since 2003, they've always had a dog at number one receiver. They had Chad, then they had AJ. Now you got Chase. So like for 20 years, they've had a dog at their number one receiver spot. Always had that. They've always had really good number twos. TJ Houshmandzadeh was a really good number two. Marvin Jones a good number two, and T Higgins is a number one playing number two. And now and even before T came, Tyler Boyd was a good number two, right? So you've always had that receiver. They've had above average quarterbacks, like Carson was good. Say what you want to say about Red Rifle. He's never been like great, but he's been a above average quarterback until towards the end he was trash. And now Joe Burrow is probably the best quarterback the franchise has ever had. And he's only played 3 years. You know what I'm saying? And then they've always had really good running backs. You know what I'm saying? Like again, serviceable running backs. So they've have a formula. But Bengals are gonna never go sign a big time free agent.
You think Andy Dalton was trash? Was Andy Dalton trash?
Andy Dalton was good. Like his first 5 years, he was good. He was never great, but he was good. But then like the last few years of his career, he was just not very good because AJ was hurt a lot during that time. He didn't have the support. But he's not Joe. Joe is, put it like this is how good Joe Burrow is. He's been in the league 3 years, right? He has more playoff wins than every quarterback in Bengals history combined.
Yeah, because he went to Super Bowl once.
So he's got 5
AFC championship.
He's 5-2 in the playoffs in 3 years.
And y'all didn't have a playoff win for
since I was in high school, like 9th, 10th grade. So I'm excited, but just to be a Bengals fan for them to do good. I'm really interested with a lot of this player movement to see like the NFC is like the thing that's cool this year is like I feel like the NFC is wide open. And then the AFC is just gonna be so tough. It's just to see who's gonna come out of that.
Because there's just so many good teams.
You got not just teams. You got all right. So if you take let's go through this. Let's take this for instance. If you take the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, I would say 8 of them in the AFC. Because we can go like if I would do the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, I think it's of course Mahomes number 1. I think Joe's 2. I'm gonna give Jalen 3.
Right, is Allen top 5?
So I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna go Pat, Joe, go Jalen at the 4.
Josh Allen top 5?
I'm gonna put
Lamar.
Nah, not right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna put. I feel like you kind of forced. You got to put Aaron Rodgers in the top 5,
even though he's older.
Yeah, but he still be balling.
Yeah. So is Josh Allen 5?
I put Josh 5. I'm gonna put Lamar 6.
Even though he hasn't played.
Great, but Lamar's cold 6. I think you got to put what's my man out in San Diego?
Herbert.
Herbert 7. So we got 7 so far. I only said 1 NFC quarterback.
Is Dak top 10?
No.
I was making sure you was going to say he's top 10.
So after that, I would probably go. What's her name in Jacksonville?
I would say Trevor.
Trevor at 8. He had a really good year last year. He had a 27-point comeback in the playoffs, and they played the Chiefs really well. So he's definitely top 10.
I'm trying to think of like who else.
So 8. I'm gonna put Kirk Cousins probably 9. He don't get
someone better than Kirk Cousins. Let me think,
bro.
Is he better than Tua?
Kirk Cousins? I think so right now.
You think he's better than Tua? Who else? I'm trying to think. This guy, I thought there's somebody better than Kirk Cousins. Deshaun
Watson.
He was
trash last year.
I mean, but he played like.
Don't care, bro. He got to play better than that. So Deshaun ain't up there yet. To me.
Do you think he
was so bad?
Do you think he'll end up being better? Or you think he just?
We really don't know. I feel like you don't know because you got to think about it. So the first year he got in trouble, and with the Texas he ain't play. Then he was suspended all that time. Like he really ain't played football in 3 years.
So I think last year you can't really hold it against him.
You got to, man. You got to hold it against him.
I mean, if I didn't play football for 3 years and people judge me off of 5 games,
Bro, you got to think about it. Let's do a real talk about you. So you played 8th grade, 9th grade because of COVID. You played what, 2-3 games really?
It was like 3.
Then you came back. Then you ain't play none in 10th grade. So you basically ain't play no. It's like you from 8th grade to 11th grade. Then you came out and ball. And I know he a quarterback. I know it's the NFL, but it's like, is he over? Like, is he? I don't know. I really don't know. So I'm not putting him up there.
I'm trying to think. So bro, Russell Wilson's trash.
Yeah, no Russell.
David
Carr. I don't think David Carr top 10.
I'm gonna look up like
all the starters.
I feel like there's someone better than Kirk Cousins.
I don't think so. Dak ain't better than Kirk.
I thought there's someone better than Kirk Cousins.
I don't know, bro. Kirk Cousins is top 10, 9. I'll put him at 9.
I know, but I still feel like there's someone better.
I don't think so.
You ain't putting Justin Fields above him?
Oh, no.
Justin Fields is cold.
No, he just can. He ain't cold. Bro. He got to do more in the passing game for me, man.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's what happens when you shoot your podcast at the crib. We go take a break so that he can do what he's supposed to do, which is what his mom would tell him to do.
Where's the vacuum? I don't know where the vacuum's at. Do you have the vacuum? Where's it at?
All right, we back. He's back for doing his duties. You know, whatever mom tell you to do, scroll over this way a little bit more.
I'm about to go back to looking.
Back on this way a little bit. There you go.
I'm trying to think.
So, all right, I got some. Jared Goff better than Kirk Cousins?
Nah. Kyler Murray. You think he was so trash last year, you can't.
I don't think he's better than Kirk Cousins. What about my man in the Rams? Who is the starting quarterback for the Rams? I forgot already.
It's not Stafford, is it?
No, it is Stafford.
It is Stafford?
Yeah, and Stafford's not better.
Yeah, I guess you could put him 9.
Yeah, I think he at least 9. Some people might think he's better than that. If you look at his stats, it's just that sometimes he does stuff like that throw on 4th down in the playoffs last year. It's like how do you at your level make that kind of a mistake? Like if you ain't got nobody to throw it to, it's 4th down in the season. You just throw it to JJ and see if he can make the play. Mm-hmm. You don't throw it 6 yards short of the 1st down to a tight end that ain't gonna make nobody miss. So I think that's kind of stuff that kind of make people think that he's not that good. But if you look at Kirk Cousins over his career, he's solid, man.
Yeah.
So I would say Kirk Cousins is the top 10 quarterback.
Who's 10 though?
Probably Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, yeah.
All right, so
I got a question. We're talking about the NFL. How do you feel about the whole running back situation?
So here's the thing about the running back situation. It sucks,
but it's true at the same time.
What it is it's so you got to remember football is a business. Mm-hmm. So it's supply and demand. So the more of something that you have, the less it's going to cost, right? Mm-hmm. The less that you have of something, the demand is lower, it's going to cost more. So the problem with the NFL is that the running back position is saturated. It's so many good running backs, right? Mm-hmm. So you got more running backs. You got more quality running backs in the market than you have spots for them. So since the demand is so low, but the supply is so high, teams don't have to pay a lot of money because I can find a good running back on the cheap. So you're just not going to make as much money. Mm-hmm. So and then 2, the problem is that the passing game. So back in the day, I feel like when I was growing up, running backs were more valuable than receivers. Now receivers are way more valuable than they've ever been because the receiver position now is a little more difficult to play. So the supply of good receivers is not as much as you need for a demand. So when you have a good one, they're gonna get paid. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But running backs, it's like the problem is that how many starting running backs in the NFL are later round to free agent dudes who don't.
I saw a graphic. It was like the top 10 running backs, top 10 leading rushers in 2016, and like none of them are in the league or signed, or none of them are signed.
Right. Like you don't really like to make money in the league. Like Bro, Dalvin Cook just signed today,
Mm-hmm.
and he only signed a 1-year deal for
And he's a good running back.
$8 million, bro. And he's rushed for 1,000 yards every year he's been in the league. I think he's been a Pro Bowler every year he's been in the league. He just signed 1 year for $8 million.
With the Jets.
Yeah, and that's nothing.
All right, $8 million.
$8 million, and then it's supply and demand, man. What's gonna really have to happen is the role of running backs is gonna have to change, or you're gonna have to start getting some terrible running backs. But
I think, like overall, I think sports is just changing, and literally every sport is changing between college football and NFL. Like the NBA, there's no such thing as a true big anymore. I feel like there's no such thing as a true big. Players are a lot more demanding. Like you saw James Harden's like refusing to go to training camp with the Sixers. Like players are,
I guess, more control. I
guess I think it's turned into more of a. I feel like back in the day, it was more of the people in power controlled everything, and now it's changed. It's the players.
In a way, it's still the same. I don't think we should be fooled by thinking that players have more power. Some players have more power.
Yes, I'm not saying
like the vast majority of players, you just better play a role. But the LeBrons, the James Hardens, the Embiid.
Because I feel like any team is going to take James Harden. I feel like not any team.
I don't think nobody wants James. I think James ain't worth the trouble. I think when he throws a fit like a kid.
The teams wanted Dylan Brooks. I feel like if teams wanted Dylan Brooks and Dylan Brooks signing triple-digit deals, people gonna take James Harden.
Somebody will, but I don't know. Is he?
I don't feel like
worth all the.
Because he can hoop.
Junk that comes.
That's
with
the
him.
thing is that he can like John Morant. If John Morant went on free agency today,
that's different.
That's
different. Josh younger,
but James Harden
Josh more.
And his is but John's stuff is way more severe than James Harden because James Harden just don't want to play for a team.
My question is, do James Harden want to hoop or just want to get paid?
It's kind of hard. But when he's hooping, though, he can hoop.
That's true.
It's not like some dudes want money, but they can't. They just can't hoop. Like some dudes just can't. But it's not like James is trash, demanding money.
No, he ain't trash. But he ain't 2016, 2017 James Harden.
No, but I mean he's just as time goes on, that's just how it be.
Sports, I guess like you said, man, the games have changed. On the football side of things, man, it's just like, I'll be honest, like, if I had a kid that was growing up that wanted to play in the league, I wouldn't. He could play running back up to like middle school. And then when he get to high school, I wouldn't have him play running back.
Yeah, Mark Ingram said this kid ain't playing running back.
He could play. I would just move him to secondary or play him in the slot, put him at receiver or something else. Mm-hmm. I want to have him at running back because, one, he don't have to take that punishment, and two, you do all it. Like Derrick Henry is like an anomaly for a dude who carried the ball as much as he did in college, and then get to the league and carry the ball as much as he does in the league, still be cold. It's crazy. But you look at how he work out, you look at his body.
That stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's kind of a freak of nature. It's just that it is kind of weird, man, coming from my generation of football, just seeing.
Like the running backs carry the ball the way Derrick Henry did.
Yes.
Like, that was consistent. Yeah. Like that was normal.
Like, I mean, Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, bro. Like
30 plus carries a game.
They like on a low carry day, they going 20. 20. Like 20 is like low. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But, it would be nothing in a tough game to see a running back carry at 30. I'm going to put it to you like this. On those Cowboy years, Troy Aikman in the Hall of Fame, right? Troy Aikman has only threw for 20 touchdowns in his career once.
In the season.
In the season, once. I think Michael Vick might have more career passing yards than him. It's just but he was a Super Bowl. He was a leader. Mm-hmm. The game was just different. Like for instance, like you take a dude like Terry Bradshaw, Hall of Famer, got 4 Super Bowls. Do you know he's only thrown 2 more touchdowns than he's thrown interceptions in his career? They threw more interceptions and stuff back then. But nowadays, the running back. Like if you want to be a running back and be successful, you got to be like McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
You better be able.
You gotta be able to.
You better do catch. You better be able to run. You better be able to do it all. Derrick Henry is just rare. He's in a. You got the perfect situation. He's in a offense to where they need him to rush for 1,500 yards every year. Like I think Derrick Henry's going to go to the Hall of Fame. I'll be very surprised. Another running back from this generation that makes the Hall of Fame. Like McCaffrey might. Yeah. Like some of those guys because they might. McCaffrey's going to accumulate the all-purpose yards and stuff like that, the yards from scrimmage, but just the running back position right now is just like the traditional big man in the NBA. You're gonna have some people who are anomalies who might come in as a big man and can do and still be successful. But as far as like the league overall, it's a wrap.
Yeah, I feel like running back is it's like I said, physically demanding because you get hit every single play.
Right. You better learn how to catch or play in the secondary. So that's that. We're gonna go to the next segment. The next segment is called Back in My Day.
Back in your
that's
day.
Me back when I was playing ball. And something me and you always talking about is like drip, like how to dress for football. One thing I would say that I like so much better now is just uniforms.
They look better.
Look better because they fit better. You know what I'm saying? Like I look back now, man. Like for one thing that I like we wore way bigger shoulder pads. We had the giant face mask. Like I remember my senior year in college, I went from the traditional big cage to like the DB face mask. And my coach was like, "You play D line. Why do you want that? That's crazy. That's a running back." I was like, "No, it just looks better."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But I think overall, like nowadays with drip, I think my biggest problem is that y'all just go
too crazy.
Go too far. Like me and you talked about it, like the one sock up, like a long sock, short sock.
I think it's leggings. You think like where it's like one legging?
Yeah, that's ugly. That's terrible to me. I don't like that. I don't like outside of DBs. DBs. Nobody should wear like the scrunched up socks.
No one can wear scrunched up socks.
DBs like only, bro.
Not even receivers.
No.
What are receivers supposed to wear then?
Not that. That's what Deion started that. A DB started that. That's a DB thing to me. I don't like that. But other than that, I don't really have a problem. I think what's funny about me back in my day, a lot of stuff y'all do, I've been doing. So I wore a pacifier mouthpiece almost my whole life. Like growing up, Walter Payton wore a pacifier mouthpiece, so I thought it was cool. And I can't remember. I used to play with these twins, Damon and Dana. Rest in peace, Damon. I can't remember which one it was. They was the ones that kind of like one of them gave me my first pacifier mouthpiece. They gave it to me, and back then, what it was is you had a regular mouthpiece, and you bought the pacifier. You had the pacifier separate, and you just pull it through it. Okay. And they're not like they are now. And so I start, and back then they didn't they got the breathing holes. They ain't how that.
It was how you breathe. You gotta just
you got your pacifier probably was a little loose. But I started wearing the pacifier mouthpiece then back in the 90s. I started wearing a visor in 93 was the first time I had a visor. Spatting, man, like that was like a thing in my high school. I remember like on defense in my high school while I was there, like all the defensive dudes spattered their shoes white. And like when you got to varsity and started on defense, that was like, all right, now you can start spatting your stuff. That was like the thing. Then I remember my senior year, we were spatting different colors. Like I spatted my shoes orange, or I would spat them black.
Where should I get this tape from?
You go to the store and buy it.
Well, like y'all could wear like there's a tape
school.
Though?
Yeah, it's a store, and I think it's still downtown Cincinnati called Cooks. So you would go to Cooks. It was a sporting goods store. We bought tape there. You bought face masks. You can buy face masks, you buy gloves, all this stuff down at Cooks. I think Cooks is still there. So me, I always wanted. I made sure I had fresh cage. I wore a visor in the 11th grade. I didn't do it in 9th grade. But then when I got to college, that's kind of where I got to like my thing with drip is just I just want to go. I want to be I want to spat my shoes. I want to have black tape. I want to have black tape on my wrist, and if I can wear a visor, I'm gonna wear a visor. If I can wear a dark one, I'm gonna wear a dark one. But I wear a clear visor too. So that was like to me that was swag, and I might wear a little wristband here and there. When I play semi-pro ball, I always wore after my second year, I always wore long sleeve. I used to wear like not
King, it's too hot.
but no, I used to wear like the Under Armour. They call it cold wear. So what happened is like it's skin tight on your arms, and when you sweat, it start the whatever the technology was in it, it cooled you off. So I used to wear. If you look at any pictures of me from semi-pro, I'm wearing long sleeves. Always got on long sleeves, and I never wore lineman gloves. I always wore receiver gloves because they just look better. So that was me with and if you look at how I basically dressed you coming up, it was spat, black wrist, and then spat and I don't think you outside of your first year playing football, you had a visor. Always wore a visor. I've kind of made that a thing, and part of it is like you on the line. I don't want people poking your eyes. You've always worn a pacifier mouthpiece, so I think like uniform wise, especially fit, I like it way better now compared to what we had. But I think sometimes y'all go way too far, bro. It's too much stuff on. You know what I'm saying? It's just too much stuff.
Mine's basic overall.
So like this year, what kind of like what's your? I see you brought this. You got the one arm sleeve out. I think that's cool.
I got the one arm sleeve. Then I'll probably just spat my ankles. I'll probably whatever sock color. If it's maroon, I'll show the maroon. But if it's white, I'll cover the white because my spat's already gonna be white.
So you spat in white the whole year?
Yeah, I can't spat any other color.
Oh, okay.
So I have to spat white, and then if we have white socks, then I'll probably cover the white sock because I already got the white spat. But if it's maroon, I'll wear maroon, show the maroon, and then it's not really drip. I put pre-wrap on my legs.
So I was gonna actually ask you. I was looking at the other day because I sometimes wear like the knee little things. They got Nike ones. Like, is that something you would wear?
Yeah, I'd wear those.
Because I thought about getting it for you, but you wore pre-wrap for what?
I just wear pre-wrap because I always have, and I feel like when I don't, it's kind of a little subconscious thing.
I got you.
I just do.
Are you gonna ever wear all like long white? You gonna go? I
did it last year.
You did it against Apollo. I was like, it didn't look bad. It was just like it's something about when you.
I think you got to break it. You got to break it up.
Right. So I think here's the thing. Like with me, with that, it's like
I think we had white socks though. It was like it's kind of hard because I think it was cold. It was kind of cool, kind of cold, and when I wear tights, I don't really like showing my skin in the tights. Like if I'm wearing tights, I'm gonna wear it.
I feel like the cool thing about high school and college is that you can't expose your leg. So wearing long socks, I don't like wearing long socks unless I've played in like a college, man, bro. When I was at Heidelberg, when Coach West was there, I loved the uniforms because like our jerseys were kind of plain. I like kind of plain look, and they had the Heidelberg H on the shoulders. I love those uniforms, and they were just simple. It was white and black. Then when Shank became the head coach, and I can't stand Shank. I've never liked Coach Shank. I've never liked him. Even when he was just an O-line coach, I just thought he was an asshole, and he was an asshole for no reason. And he just didn't like me for whatever reason, or we didn't like each other, or whatever. I never liked him. Then like he was cool. So he used to be Terry Bowden used to be the head coach at Auburn. They was homeboys. So we got Auburn uniforms. Like Auburn, our whole uniform was designed just like Auburn's. but the quality of the jerseys is too big. Our old jerseys nicer and tighter. It was too big, and like you couldn't really get fresh in them. I did not like those. I hated those uniforms. But yeah, and he would make us. We like had to wear long white socks. I used to hate that junk, but I still spattered my shoes black. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much with drip. I've always tried to make. That's one thing I can't. I just want Jay to just play football so I can
Dress him up.
dress him up, bro. That's real talk. I want to dress him up. All right, so for our last segment, it's called 5 for 5. And so for today, name 5 songs that's guaranteed to get you hyped before a game.
So it was hard. Because I didn't see your text until. So my honorable mention is Straight In by the Migos. I like that song. But I really only like the beginning. Like after like halfway through, I kind of just go to the next song. But my first song is In Control by Youngboy. And I feel like any old Youngboy song can really get me turned. I think Youngboy, like you said, you can listen to him at the gym and he can get you hyped up. My second one, it's like a universal First Day Out by T Grizzly. That's like a song I'm sure every locker room in America on Friday nights is just getting played at least one time. That's kind of like, I know it word for word like everybody else do. And I feel like it's just something that it's kind of like Jordan.
Right.
Like you have to have it in your top 5 just because. And then my third one is SOTB by RMC Mike and Rio, and I put Substance Abuse because they're both on the same album. But like I like Rio the Young OG a lot, and that's like one of my favorite rappers. So like it's kind of like a 2-in-1 type thing. Like those 2 songs right there, probably. And then I had Finish Line Drown by Chance the Rapper. That's like a song that kind of calms me down before a game. Like I listen to my music, so I got a game day playlist. I only listen on game days.
Right.
And it's like a mix. It's not just straight.
Some of you got
music.
MJ in there and everything. Don't you?
Yeah, it's like it's a mix. It's not straight hype music. I've switched it up, and I put certain songs in there, but it's not like straight hype music. It's not straight R&B. It's like a mix of everything. To kind of like, and that's kind of like the song I listen to like right before I go on the field because it calms me down. You know what I mean? Lets me get in touch with myself before I play. And then my last one is Life We Live by Project Pat. That might be my favorite song ever. That song, like, I started getting into Project Pat like last year. And like he became one of my favorite rappers ever. And that's like my favorite song by him.
You gotta for your age, the stuff you listen to sometimes be shocking me. Like you listen to stuff that's out now, but you listen to like old stuff like
let me see how many I got. I remember old playlist.
That 4 for 4 by Jay-Z used to bang that. It came out when he was 7th grade?
I used to play it all the time.
Play it all the time.
I got it. I call it oldies. That playlist is 17 hours long.
And I know you I've never got into this person, but you really like MF Doom, which surprised me.
I like him a lot. So, I was listening to him. I listened to his album, Gangstar. They're in there. I like them a lot. Who else is in here? Jackson 5, Michael Jackson, that type of deal.
All right.
I got like really old song by the OJs and LTD, the Spinners, De La Soul, Stevie Wonder, like really old music.
Stuff that people would be surprised that you even listen to. Right. So for me, I made a list not based off of like what I listened to when I played, but like if I play it right now, what are some songs that I would like? So it's a mix of some stuff now and a couple of songs from when I was growing up. So I got an honorable mention too. It's a Mac 10 by Trippie Redd, Lil Baby, and Lil Duke. I love that song. I don't know why. I just like that vibe on it. And like I know Trippie Redd and Lil Baby, they got some cold verses, but the only song I ever heard Lil Duke on is that he got bars on that one. So that's my honorable mention. So my first song would be on my official list would be New Level by A$AP Ferg. I love that song. Like I don't know how you can listen to that and not want to go out there and ball. I love that song. I've used it multiple times. I
Yeah.
think on highlight films that you got. So I've used it multiple times. March Madness by Future. Love March Madness. That's a get hype song right there. Future just can overall get you going. Annie Up by MOP. Like I actually listened to that, and when I was playing ball, Annie Up. Like MOP, you got to make sure you're in the right mind frame. You'll want to go rob somebody for real.
Yeah, I know. I think I got a couple. I think that song is in my playlist. Like I like it's Annie Up, and there's another song by them that I like a lot. I'm trying to think.
And like with Annie Up, I like the original more than the remix, but I love the original. While you look for that, I got another one. My next one is "Buck 'Em Down" by Black Moon. Like it's got a real mellow start to it. It's a groove before they start going, and then when the chorus come on, that "Buck 'Em Down," I love that. And then my last one, I gotta have one with my boy on it. Perspective by NBA YoungBoy. It's on the new album. That one go. I really like Perspective. I'm trying to find a clean version of it so I can use it on one of the highlight films I'll end up making, but I can't find it. It's probably got to be out a little long for somebody to do a clean version. So those would be the 5 if I play right. If I played ball right now, if I heard those, I'd definitely be ready to go out and get some things done.
Yeah, I think it's like I listen. I don't know. I just like really. Sometimes I will listen to old music on games. Like I like old rap. I'm starting to listen to a lot more East Coast rap as of late. Like Nas, obviously Biggie. Is Mobb Deep East Coast too?
Yep, they're from New York.
I like New York, New Jersey.
Oh, I missed one more. I forgot to put on there, and it ain't on here, but I meant to. It's a song called "Tony" by Capone and Noriega. Go listen to that. It'll get you.
Tony.
Yep, but it says Tony, but it's Tony is what the title actually is.
By
Tony.
who?
By Capone and Noriega. That'll get you hyped too. They be talking crazy, but I mean, you listen to the people now; they just as crazy.
Yeah, it's just I think rap. And it's funny because people be talking about like rap, like it's out of pocket now, but out of pocket, rap's been out of pocket for years. Rap's kind of just always been that way.
A little risky,
and that's like it's kind of like you're few of not old but older people that tap back into new rap, and people be like, "What you listening to?" But I'm sure back in your day, people was asking you the same thing.
Like with me with hip hop, it's like I love my era because it's the nostalgia. It reminds me of when I was younger.
So, rap really blossomed in the 90s.
Right. So I'm one of them people that's like everybody's like, oh, hip hop. Like people my generation is like, oh, hip hop now garbage. Oh, you can't understand what they saying. Man, go back and listen. Like, man, when I was in '92, when I was in like 9th grade, people was listening to Das Effects. Go listen to Das Effects. That's mumble rap before mumble rap. These mugs was making nursery rhyme songs. They have bars, but they sound just as crazy as some of these dudes now. I think the difference is now and why some people in my generation
production.
It's for 2 reasons. One, any nostalgia, you gonna think it's better because it reminds you when you was young. So you're gonna think, this is my stuff. So to me, it sounds better. And 2, now I think, like if you come from the boom bap era, them beats was like musically now. The producer is so much more important now because it's more melodic. I think they don't like the fact that it's sing-songy. Like
it's like there's a lot like the hook, like the hook is like it looks like what you repeat in the song like over and over, like, or you go back to that verse. Back then, it really wasn't.
Hip hop. They be like, "Oh, these dudes can't rap." You ain't gonna tell me Lil Baby ain't got bars. He got bars. You know, tell me Gunna ain't got bars.
This is in a different way.
He got bars. And there's other people like people don't listen to. Like I'm gonna tell you somebody that's underrated. Is what's T.I.'s son name? God, what's his name? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now. Like T.I. son is barred up. It's a lot of dudes that's MC. Simba Cole.
Yeah, Simba
Cole. You got a lot of like MCs that's out there, but people just nostalgic about their era. Like when I ride around, most of the time I'm usually listening to. I don't listen to. I got some playlists from when I was younger, but I don't sit around and listen to '90s hip hop all day. I listen to more. I like what's more recent. I listen to. I don't listen to rap as much as I used to when I was younger. I listen to more like contemporary R&B, some R&B from my day. I'm more nostalgic about the R&B from my
yeah,
time.
the R&B back then was. I got an R&B playlist too. Like I got. Let me go through and count. I think I have 7 playlists in my phone. So I got like I got my sport or not my sport, my game day. I got like neo soul music. I got music to play in my car, R&B, and I got like it's menace. It's like music to like get me turned up. And then I got my old music. Then I call it hidden talents because like it's like music. It's like music like out of the ordinary, like something something that you would probably never even imagine me listening to, like music like that. And then I got underground, like just underground rappers, like from now that I listen to.
Yeah, man, it's just people being they get off my lawn mentality. But to close out like the playlist thing, like when I was in college, I tell people like I listened to on road games. And even when I played some semi-pro, if it was a long road game, I would listen to like hip hop but I always Michael Jackson, Off the Wall, and Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life. I probably listened to from college semi-pro. I listened to those 2 albums on game day probably 90% of the time.
What about like the because you got the 90s, but what about like the 2000 era rap? Do you really listen to that?
Like you know, because like I like T.I. I like a lot of some of that trap music. But I don't listen to. I probably listen to more like it would probably be like more '90s and today more like that era. I was a young adult. I was really into like the neos because that was like the like '96 to like 2010 or whatever. That's a lot of neo soul. Every Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, Music Soul Child, Anthony Hamilton. I was listening to more of that because I was a young adult. I'm really trying to, with the ladies, trying to impress them and stuff like that. So I was still listening to hip hop, but it wasn't a lot. I was just listening to the rappers from the 90s that was still putting out good music then. Then a few, I ain't gonna lie, like that Lil Jon era. I wouldn't like listen to it on my own just every day, but for games, the Little John stuff used to get me hype. I had all them CDs, but yeah, that's how it was then. So we're gonna wrap it up. I'm excited for you. Season kicking off on 4 days. Friday against Meade County. If you see this, they playing at Colonel Stadium, 7:00 on Friday. Be there.
Try your best to be there.
Yes,
we need all the support. It's gonna be packed. It's gonna be packed.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys put in a whole lot of work in the summer, a whole lot of work in the spring and the winter. Now it's time to put it all together.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's the first episode of the Double Nickel Podcast. If you have an opportunity and you're looking at this and you live in the area, be there at Colonel Stadium, 7:00 on Friday as we kick off the 2023 season. I'm proud of you, what you've done so far. Just go out there and enjoy, have fun, if nothing else, because you'll never get your senior year back.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
See you next week. Peace.